have this formula, the summation of CB times XN. This is the XN. Yes, this is the XN. The XN here. These are the XN. Where N is any constant. So 0 times 1 plus 0 times negative 4 over 5 times 5. I plus 5 times 4 over 5 is 4. Then so on and so forth. Times 0, 0 plus 0 times 0 times plus 5 times 1 is 5 and then 0 times 1 plus 0 times 0 plus 5 times 0 is 0 and so on. And to find the Cj minus Zj is we subtract, this is the value of Cj. So Cj minus Zj is 0, and then 4 minus 4 is 0, and then 5 minus 5 is 0, and then 0 is 0, 0 minus 0, 0, and 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So the next step is, let's check optimality if the Cj minus Zy is greater than or equal to 0. And if not, then go back to the step 3. Since Cj minus Zj has a negative 1, we should come back to the step 3. Where step to find the pivot column. So to find the pivot column, we should find the maximum negative of objective function. So the maximum objective function here, maximum negative objective function here is negative 1, where it belongs to S3. So the S3 now is the pivot column. The next step is pivot row. To know the pivot row, we take the least positive ratio of RHS divide S3. So RHS divide here, we get the ratio. So another divide. 0 is undefined. 11,920 divide negative 1 over 5 is 300. Negative 350, and 80 divide 100. 1/5 is 400. So the least positive ratio here is 400 because we can choose the negative 350 because it is less than 400 or less than 0. So we get, this is now our pivot row. Next is make the pivot value 1 by dividing the row by the pivot value. So this is already our, this is already our pivot value. So let's make this as 1. So let's divide it by itself. 1 divide 1/5 is equal to 1. So yes. And let's divide this into 1/5. So we get this. The next step is to make this value 0. So to make that 0, we add 1/5 to be 0. Multiplied by, sorry, let's multiply it by the row 3 here. This is the row 3, so 1. The value of row 3 is 1. So it is 0. And let's make that procedure to this values here until this value. So we have this value from here. So the next step is to find the zj. So summation of cb times xn. So cb 0 times 0 plus 0 times 1 plus 0 times 5 is 0. Since the CB are 0, then the ZJ must be 0 already. Because 0 times 0 is, because 0 multiplied by any number is 0. To get the CJ, 0 minus 0 is 4. 5 minus 0 is 5. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. So next step is to check the Cj minus Dj if it is greater than or less than, or I mean greater than or equal to 0. So since there is no negative value here, so therefore from the final simplex table we can see that the minimum value of z, this z is equal to 0 because 0 times 100 plus 0 times 4768080 plus 0 times 400 is already a 0. Then, so that's why z is 0 here. So S1 is 100, S2 is 4768080, and S3 is 400. So let's move to the second example. Alice wants to minimize the total cost of buying fruits for making fruit salad. She can buy apples and oranges. Each apple costs $2 and each orange costs $3. She wants to buy at least 10 fruits in total. In total, she has a budget of $20. How many apples and oranges should Alice buy to minimize her cost while meeting the fruit and budget constraints? So to minimize, we have z is equal to 2x1 plus 3x2, where x1 is the apples bought, and x2 is equal to oranges bought, and 2 and 3 is the cost of each fruits or per fruits, and subject to x1 plus x2 is greater than or equal to 10, and 2x1 plus 3x2 is less than or equal to 20. Next. The first step is add slack variables S2 and this should be 1. S1 and S2 to constraints. So this is the first constraint and second constraint. So x1 plus x2 plus s1 plus 0s2 is equal to 10. Then 2x1 plus